Welcome back to another thrilling ride with Motors Sports Mania, your go-to channel for in-depth car reviews, historical classics, and everything automotive. Today, we're diving deep into a car that often stirs passion among collectors and muscle car fans alike, the 1960 Ford Mustang Mach 1. Although the Mustang Mach 1 officially debuted in 1969, there is a lot of curiosity and sometimes confusion around early prototypes or styling cues that influenced later models. In this video, we'll explore the mythos, review the iconic Mustang's early evolution, and touch on what a hypothetical 1960 Mach 1 would represent based on the legacy of Ford's performance-driven design. So buckle up as we take a nostalgic yet informative cruise through specs, features, and automotive history. In 1960, Ford had not yet introduced the Mustang to the market, as the official debut happened in 1964. However, the groundwork was being laid for what would become one of the most recognizable American cars of all time. During this time, Ford was focused on building consumer interest in smaller, sportier vehicles, taking lessons from European styling and engineering. The Thunderbird was transitioning from a personal luxury car into a larger format, and Ford executives recognized the growing youth market's need for a nimble, affordable, and stylish performance car. It was this realization that would later result in the creation of the Mustang. Had a 1960 Ford Mustang Mach 1 existed, it would likely have drawn power from one of Ford's powerful V8 engines of the time. The most probable candidate would be the 352 cubic inch FE-V8, a high-performance motor that delivered up to 300 horsepower in the Galaxy and Thunderbird models. With aggressive tuning and possible dual exhausts, this engine could have laid the foundation for a performance badge like the Mach 1. The transmission choices during this era included a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and Ford's Cruise-O-Matic automatic transmission. All of these would support the muscle car feel that the Mach 1 name would later become synonymous with. Design-wise, a theoretical 1960 Mach 1 would likely have sported a fastback silhouette, something that didn't become standard in Mustang design until a few years later. The fastback style offered not only improved aerodynamics but also added to the visual aggression of the vehicle. It would have featured a long hood, short deck, and quad headlights, in line with the styling trends of the early 60s. Chrome accents, side scoops, and racing stripes would give it a distinctive look. Wide-set tires, dual exhausts, and maybe even rear spoilers would be added to make the vehicle stand out in both aesthetics and performance. Inside, the car would have had bucket seats, a floor-mounted shifter, and analog gauges in deep-set pods. The dashboard would have been a blend of metal and vinyl, with straightforward knobs and buttons that focused on functionality rather than luxury. Steering wheels in the era were thin, with metal spokes and horn rings, adding to the authentic feel. The inclusion of tachometers and performance gauges would have complemented the sporty essence of the Mach 1. Materials light chrome trim, imitation wood panels, and vinyl upholstery would complete the cabin's appearance. If we imagine the ride quality, the 1960 Mach 1 would have balanced raw power with surprisingly refined handling, especially if equipped with heavy-duty suspension components. Front coil springs and rear leaf springs would help manage body roll and provide stability. Power steering was beginning to find its way into more models during this time, which would have made the car more manageable at lower speeds. Drum brakes were still the standard, but given the performance nature, optional front disc brakes might have been offered for better stopping power. In terms of features, the car would most likely come with AM radio, heater, and optional air conditioning. Ford was known for packaging optional upgrades to help buyers customize their ride, so a variety of trims and packages would have been part of the Mach 1 branding. A GT performance package could have included stiffer springs, better brakes, and sportier interior accents. Rally wheels, fog lights, and possibly a functional hood scoop might have been available to underline the performance theme. Fuel economy wouldn't have been a priority back then, especially for a performance car. The V8 engines would have delivered somewhere around 12 to 15 miles per gallon, depending on driving habits. But what the car lacked in fuel efficiency, it more than made up for in pure driving excitement and visceral sound from its throaty exhaust. Owners would have felt a strong connection to the road, with minimal driver aids and a focus on mechanical feedback. When the actual Mach 1 was launched in 1969, it validated what Ford could have achieved nearly a decade earlier if the market and engineering had aligned. The nameplate stood for aggressive performance, bold styling, and track-capable design, all of which would have been present in a 1960 version had it been born. The 1960s was a time of experimentation and growth for American automakers, and Ford was clearly laying the groundwork for greatness with its evolving engine technologies, body styles, and brand strategy. Collectors today still reimagine what an early Mach 1 prototype might have looked like, often creating tribute builds from vintage Ford platforms. These restomod projects capture the spirit of the era with modern performance tweaks, blending history with innovation. Whether you're a fan of the Mustang's early years or a lover of high-performance American muscle, the idea of a 1960 Mach 1 remains an exciting piece of alternate history in the automotive world. This wraps up our imaginative yet technical journey into what the 1960 Ford Mustang Mach 1 could have been. We hope you enjoyed this fusion of historical context and speculative performance insight. For more detailed car reviews, vintage classics, and modern automotive analysis, be sure to subscribe to Motorsports Mania. Hit the like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to ring the bell for future uploads.